All right, today we are multiplying decimals and whole numbers visually. Here we go. First, let's remember that multiplication is repeated addition, and you can think about 3 times 2 like 3 groups of 2 or 2 groups of 3. I just happen to model 3 groups of 2 here. Let's remember that. So you can also do this with decimals. If we have 200ths times 2, that means we have 2 groups of 200ths. And we can see here 2 groups of 200ths. Let me put on my little spotlight. Yeah, 2 groups of 200ths. Next slide. Oh no, there we go. We saw this yesterday with 4 groups of 1/10 or 5 groups of 100th. But it can also work when it's not just a place value spot, like tenths or hundredths. Like here we have 200ths times 2. We could count up how much we have. All right, 100th, 200ths, 300ths, 400ths. So 200ths times 2 is 400ths. Let's write that down. Ba-bum. Okay. So what you're going to be doing today is using models to figure out how to multiply a decimal times a whole number. And if you just think about it, like this 4/10 times 2 means you have 2 groups of 4/10. You can look at the model and see, okay, 4/10 plus 4/10 is going to be 8/10. Ba-ba-bum, ba-bum-bum-bum. We can also use a number line for multiplication. So if we want to do 3 times 400ths, that means 3 groups of 400ths. So on the number line, you start at 0 and you go to 4/10. That's one group. Not 4/10, 400ths. Then you go up another 400ths. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. That'd be the second group. And then you go up another 400ths. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the third group. See, 3 groups. And where does that leave us? Well, that leaves us at 1200ths. 1/10, 1100ths, 1200ths. Ta-da! So you can use the number line to count up for multiplying. It will on your Khan Academy today, it will also do things like where it doesn't actually ask you to answer it. It just wants you to pick an expression that matches the picture. So which of these 3 matches this picture? Well, let's see here. We have 2 groups, so we know it's going to be times 2 wholes because there's 2 groups. 2 groups of how much? Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 what though? It's not 5 ones. Is it hundredths? Is it tenths? Well, it's a long, skinny one, so that's tenths. So it's going to be 5/10 times 2. And we look here and we say, oh, hey, there's 5/10 times 2. Ba-ba! So basically, just remember that a whole number times a decimal means that many groups of that number. So 3 times 3/10 means 3 groups of 3/10. This is not the same as 3 times 3. Our answer is not going to be 9 ones, 9 whole. It's going to be 9/10. And we can see that. If we add these all together, we'd have 9/10, not 9/1. So basically, just use the models to figure out what the answer is. And try to see if you notice a pattern, because eventually we want to be able to do this without the models, right? If you're doing work, you don't want to have to like sit there and draw a model every time. But the models help us understand what we're really doing. So see if you notice a pattern for how you could do it without a model tomorrow.